So, you're thinking about moving to Summit, New Jersey, but you're trying to learn some more information. Well, in this video, we're going to go through the map and we're going to explore where it is, what's there, and help you get to know it. So stick around and we're going to get right to it. Thanks a lot. If this is your first visit to the channel and you're looking to learn everything there is to know about the Midtown Direct suburbs of New York City, then subscribe below. Tap the notifications bell so you can be the first to hear about the current market conditions in New Jersey and New York. Hey, I'm Jeff. The team and I, we get messages every day from people just like you who are thinking of moving to one of New York City's amazing suburbs. So whether you're moving in 7 days or 7 months, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email and we can help you find the perfect place. Alright, let's jump into the video and then we'll discuss a little bit more about Summit. Alright, so let's jump into the map here. So Summit is located just west of New York City. Here's Manhattan, West Side, and here's Summit over here. It's about a 40-minute drive if you just take 78 all the way, and you can cut through Jersey City and then into the Holland Tunnel. It takes maybe about an hour if there's really bad traffic. Also, you'll notice Newark Airport right down here, so that's about a 15-minute drive from Summit. If we zoom in on Summit, we can kind of take a look. It's located east of the Great National Swamp. I believe this is a national park. And it's just north of, and it kind of borders the Watchung Reservation, which is a nice area, lots of trails and so on, park area for you to go to. Okay, so here's Summit. It's bordered on the north by the Passaic River, and then to the west we have New Providence and Berkeley Heights down here. It sticks in a little bit to Watchung Reservation, and then it goes along 78, and then it's bordered on the north by 24. New Providence is kind of this area here, and Berkeley Heights is down here, and Chatham is up here. Short Hills is over here. We'll talk about these towns in other videos, but this is just to give you an idea of where Summit is in relation to other areas that you might have heard of. If you're taking the train to Summit, then the average is about 46 minutes, but you can find ones that are as quick as 39 up to 52 depending on how many stops. So it comes through here and then it snakes through South Orange, goes around, stops at Newark Broad Street, and then it goes into the city. So that's a Midtown Direct suburb. So that's what we're talking about, Summit being a Midtown Direct area. So the population of Summit is just under 22,000 people, and a lot of people are obviously commuting to the city. One of the very attractive pieces of living in Summit is the train station here. The main train entrance is here, and then there's another entrance on the south side. The trains come through this direction and then go to the city. Got parking kind of everywhere. There's a lot here, but that's going to fill up very quickly. There's a large parking lot here that has multiple levels. You can do street parking down Elm Street and Broad Street. There's also parking on these streets on Railroad Avenue, and then there's parking in this parking lot here on Elm Street. Again, where I was going with this is Summit's so popular is because they have 16 Midtown Direct trains. There's overall 32 trains in the morning, but 16 of those before noon are Midtown Direct trains, and they're as fast as 39 minutes and as slow as 52 minutes. Now, if you're not on a Midtown Direct train, it could be up to an hour or more. But the median train time for those Midtown Direct trains are 46 minutes. And again, if you can really tailor your schedule to the train, you can try and get on that 39-minute route, which will get you into Penn Station. So you've got a lot of really quick options into the city. There's also a bus that New Jersey Transit runs, and there's also a private company called Boxcar that would pick up somewhere over here, and that would take you into the city through the highway system. So you do have options besides the train. Of course you could drive, but then that would be pretty expensive in tolls and parking. And then the way home, you've got also very quick Midtown Direct trains. I should say they're not Midtown Direct, they're Summit. They're coming backwards, but this is on the Morrison-Essex line if you want to look it up on the map. Some of the trains are on the Gladstone branch, some of them are on the Morrison-Essex line. But what makes Summit so good is because it's a hub of those two lines, you've got lots of options that go through there. So there's really one main downtown, which is here, but there's also a sort of a secondary retail area to the north, and then a very small one that's not showing up here in the west side that borders New Providence. So the main heart of the area is this downtown. It has the train station. Some of the neighborhoods sort of overlap it a little bit, but you're gonna have basically everything you need downtown. Now, the one exception that we'll go into a little later is grocery stores. So there's no real grocery store in the downtown. To get there, you're gonna have to come over here to this retail area, which is actually in Springfield and Short Hills. There is a grocery store over here. This connects up with the main downtown area that we were talking about earlier, but Springfield here then goes into New Providence. So here's actually the New Providence train station. But right before you get into New Providence, you've got King's. So this is actually the only large supermarket in the town, and that's because, again, the larger ones are on the outside of town in different municipalities. But King's is sort of a higher end market. But in this location on Springfield Avenue, you've got a little bit of everything. It's not a huge store, but you do have a little bit of everything. You've also got some restaurants here, and then dentists, medical offices down here. So you've got a couple options. Now, if we're talking about groceries, because as I mentioned, you could go to that King's, you could go to the Meat House, but these are kind of limiting options. If you're looking for your larger grocery store, you're probably going to swing over here. Just across 24, you've got a ShopRite, which is your large ShopRite. It's got everything that you would need. That's more your budget option. And then if you want like a little bit nicer, there's another King's. This is now on the other side of the road, so this is in Short Hills. So you've got a larger King's here that has everything you need. You're gonna spend a little bit more money here, but it is a higher end offering. And they've got like a nice prepared section, nice bakery. This is salad bar. This section here, you have like all this food here that's like pre-cooked salmon, chicken cutlets, lasagnas, stuff like that you can grab and just heat it up at home if it's just been a long day and you hadn't had time to cook. That's kind of your other option for food. And then if we zoom out a little bit, I wouldn't think most people would do this on a daily basis, but you do have Route 22 down here, and Route 22 has lots of shopping. So to get to Route 22, you'd probably come through this back way and then down. And if we zoom in on Route 22, you've got everything from like Target, Walmart. There is another ShopRite down here that's even bigger. There's also a Lidl if you're looking for sort of the German brand supermarket. And all the way up and down here, you've got different restaurants and larger stores, lots of car dealerships, everything. So, but this is in Springfield and Mountainside. If you're just looking in Summit, your option is Acme Foods. This is in New Providence, and if you were to follow Springfield Avenue all the way through, you would get to this Acme grocery store. If we're comparing these outer areas, we're compared to the downtown, we're talking about bigger chains versus the mom and pop stores downtown. The mom and pop stores downtown are really going to be one-off. Like, you can go here for the bakery, you can go here for the meats, but it's not going to have the full selection. That's why you kind of have to go out and about. The other thing that we glazed over in terms of shopping that we'll come back to here is in the north, you've got the Short Hills Mall. So again, that's not in Summit, but if you're looking to go to the mall, that's probably going to be where you're going to hit up. It's got basically everything. It's got the Neiman Marcus, it's got Nordstrom, it's got Bloomingdale's. There's also a Crate and Barrel over here, although it's not showing up, but it is there. It's got really high-end stuff like Tiffany's, Hermes, Louis Vuitton. Like, this is a very high-end mall. It's got everything from Banana Republic to Louis Vuitton. So it's got a big mix. So in terms of like holiday shopping, that kind of stuff, you're probably going to come up here to the Short Hills Mall. You might venture out to other towns and go to different shopping areas, but this has a really, really big selection of things. So the other retail area of Summit is in this northern section where we go down Morris Avenue and hit River Road. Two things stick out: La Focaccia and Magic Fountain. So La Focaccia is more of a sit-down restaurant for Italian food, and Magic Fountain is sort of a grab-and-go but you can also sit down, but it's got some great ice cream. So that's the lineup. Really amazing food here. Very, very tasty. Nice to go to visit in the summer. And then there's La Focaccia down here. Some nice indoor dining. And then if we come down along River Road, you've got another diner, Broadway Diner, a couple of car dealerships down here. But then the other nice thing is Equinox. If you're not into the YMCA and you want something more of a luxury brand fitness center, you've also got the Equinox up here on River Road. So there's definitely a wide variety of options in Summit when you're looking at that kind of thing. And again, that's kind of right behind the Tatlock. If you're looking overall at Summit, this is the sort of northwestern piece of the town. Now if we zoom into the downtown, you can see we've got this big grid here that starts to develop. So this is Springfield Avenue. This is the main road through downtown. And then you have Broad Street and Morris Avenue. So those are sort of the east-west roads. Summit Avenue sort of borders the eastern front of the grid, and then Maple Avenue is sort of the western front of the grid. Morris does connect down here on Springfield, but there's not as many sort of downtown amenities that you would normally go to. The bulk of it's going to be right along Springfield, along Union Place, and then in between Summit and Maple. There is also Beechwood down the middle that we'll go into detail. But if we zoom in a little bit more, we can see you've really got everything you need in this downtown. And that's really, again, what makes Summit so special, is it has a real vibrant downtown community that is very directly reachable, without having to get in your car. It's actually very easy to get into town and get to where I need to go. Now, in terms of what's downtown, you've really got everything that you need. So let's start with restaurants. You've got two types of restaurants. You've got your sort of grab-and-go restaurants and your nicer sit-down restaurants. One of the really nice sections, I would say, for restaurants in the city is this corner right here, and that kind of flows down into this section here. Now, the reason for that is you've got Roots Steakhouse right here, you've got Summit House right here, you've got Fiorino, which is a great place, Finn's Raw Bar if you're looking for fish, Office Tavern. There's also another place in the same spot here called Piatino. And so those are the really kind of more upscale restaurants. You've also got Winberry's, which is a little further down. So if we zoom out just a little bit, there's another great restaurant over here called Winberry's at the end of Springfield Avenue. On the other side, you've got some smaller places, La Pastaria. There's another place here that's like a Persian restaurant, I believe. So those are more your sit-down sort of full meal restaurants. Oh, there's another place over here, I think that's Japanese. The other one I didn't mention is Barbacoa, which is right in here next to Roots and Summit House. So, along this corridor, and I'd say this corridor is where you're gonna find your main nice sit-down restaurants, and a little bit onto Union Place. Now, the other side of things would be grab and go. So if we're looking for grab and go food, you've got Tito's Burritos, Summit Greek. Summit Greek has sit down, but again, it's more casual food. The Summit Diner is a staple in the neighborhood. It's been there for probably one of the oldest restaurants. You've also got the Peppercorn, which I think is right about here. The sushi one here is probably more of a sit down, but again, you could probably go for lunch there. Marigold's is right over here. This section here is called the Summit Promenade, and Marigold's is right off the side. So right over here, there's a really good place called SQR Pizza, which is my favorite. It's a Roman style pizza. It's not your traditional New York slice. They do square slices, and they do thick and thin crust, which both of them are excellent. Village Trattoria is very popular. Over here you've got Doria's, and then you've got Zappia's up here. Oh, one other that I want to mention, which is kind of more in between. It's more on the diner level, but it's really good food. It's Committed Pig. That's over here on the corner of Springfield and Summit. That one's more like breakfast, lunch kind of food, but again, sit down. So Summit Diner, Committed Pig, and the Peppercorn are your kind of more traditional diner type foods. There's also Batavia, which is another one here. It's more of a lunch crowd, but that has nice salads and stuff if you're looking to be a little bit more healthy with your lunch choices. Okay, So that gives us restaurants. Now shopping is, you'll see, really diverse. You've got everything from West Elm to very small niche little places that are not commercial at all. They're like one-off places. So let's go through the list. We've got, all your basic needs like pharmacy, food shopping, specialty goods, fashion, home goods, gift shops, sports and kids stuff. For essential items, you've got CVS, which is up here. Now that's a block off of the main area up here on DeForest. So DeForest is sort of the back avenue off of Springfield. It follows it parallel, and that has your CVS, which is really your kind of go-to pharmacy and stuff like that. That your kind of basic essential needs. But mainly the Springfield's really where everything is in terms of like more upscale shopping, more boutiques, and there's also a small pharmacy right on Springfield, which is over here, which is a little Walgreens. It's just pickup pharmacy for prescriptions. Food shopping, there's not really like a grocery store downtown. You've got Summit Meat House, which you could sort of live by on a worst case scenario if like your car's in the shop and you couldn't get out to go to the grocery store. The meat shop has, of course, meats, deli. They do have some grocery stuff. They do have some produce. It's not a huge selection. It is a little bit more expensive, but that does give you sort of a downtown option in terms of food. The other place is there's like a little sort of shared space down here that has like wine, cheese, cupcakes, bakery stuff. There's another cheese shop down here, which is really nice. And the other one, there's a bakery right over here that just opened up that's really nice. There's also a nice little bakery down here. Brownie Points Bakery, that's the other one. So that gives you another option for food and baked goods and stuff. In terms of specialty, I mentioned the cheese shop, I mentioned the wine shop. The wine shop is here. It says wine shop, but when you go in there, they've got a little bit of everything. They've got like a bakery section, they've got a cheese section. It's kind of like a mini mall within a wine shop. You can see the picture here. Cheese shop, bakery, they've even got poke bowls, coffee. So that's kind of an interesting one in terms of what's available. Okay, so then there's fashion. So fashion, you've got a little bit of everything. You've got, again, from the big box stores, not big box, but larger name brands. So you've got Lululemon here, but then you've also got all sorts of small boutique shops up and down Springfield. There's like a little shoe store over here. There's a men's shop down this side of town, John Hyatt. In terms of clothes, you just kind of have to walk around and see what you like. If you like to make your own clothes, there's Wool and Grace. There's a nice knit shop there. You've got like the optician. There's an optician here. There's an optician here. Lots of jewelry stores all over the place. Like there's Silver Lining Jewelry. So again, this is a great mix here. The downtown area has a really good mix in terms of different types of stores, but also different price points and different sort of national brands versus small brands. So we've got West Elm here. There's another store down here called The Great Room, I believe. You've got interior designers. You've got also a number of kitchen shops that can do renovations and so on. So home goods, there's a lot of stuff. You've also got Serena and Lily down here that has some really nice home goods. Viburnum is a really pretty flower shop. You can see their store has some amazing stuff there. So then we also have the Shade Store. Where I'm going here is if you're moving to town, all you have to do is go to Springfield Avenue and there's plenty of stuff to furnish your home. The hardware store, if you need some stuff, you're putting up different things. You need screws and so on, you need a hammer, blah, blah, blah. So you've got everything really that you need downtown. You've even got sports stores. Again, Lulu would have some sports stuff, but then you've also got Jackrabbit, which has running and so on. There's also ski and sport. They've also got tennis in the summer. So there's really everything you need for sports as well. There's also a lacrosse store. So lacrosse is very big for the kids. And then if we get into kind of like kids activities, I mentioned it in another video, there's Kidville here and there's Robot Revolution. So you've got cool classes you can take there, all different age groups. For little kids, there's another store over here called Murray and Finn that has like gifts and stuff. There's the Toy Professor over here, and there's Ada Zoom. That's more like kind of like trinkets for like gifts and stuff. There's also like a little Sweet Nothings. This is more candy, but they do have some other gifts and stuff for kids. If we go down towards the end here, you've got like a kids clothing store here. So the other thing, obviously, services. So I went through shopping, but then there's also services. So you've got a couple different options. I mentioned before in another video, there's the YMCA, a bar method right here, but there are some yoga studios downtown. There's a new place called Stretch Lab. It's sort of a cross between PT and stretching. You've got your post office here, right near the train station. And in terms of other services, you've got hair and nail studios. Those are basically all over the map. I can circle the entire town. There's a barber shop here, and then there's another one here. There's 2 barber shops. Actually, no, there's a 3rd barber shop up here somewhere. There's salons all over town. I know there's another one here. Almost every corner has a salon. So the Overlook Hospital, which is right here, this complex here is Overlook Hospital. So you've got tons of specialty doctors, ER, everything you really need right there. But then in terms of like day-to-day doctors that you might not go to the hospital, they're all over, kind of scattered throughout. There's also professional offices in some of the upper levels of the storefronts. Now, there's also some large employers in the area. Right here we have JP Morgan has a large office. There's also a BCG, Boston Consulting Group, a large investor back here, I believe, called ECP. I think they do sustainable investing. There's also a big headquarters for Bristol Myers Squibb, which basically takes up this whole corner down here. So that gives you an idea of the downtown. Now let's jump into sort of the wider parts of the town. So there's 2 primary schools in the area in Summit, and one is down here, it's Jefferson. The other one is, I believe, back here somewhere. So there's 5 elementary schools. There's one down here on Morris Avenue. There's another one here in Brayton, down here, Franklin, I think that one is. Jefferson is over here, and right here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 1 middle school. The middle school is here, and then the high school is right here. The school system is very well rated. You can look on niche.com, you can look on greatschools.com. I believe the student to teacher ratio is something like 13:1. In terms of like the placement of the schools, it's very well rated. Obviously those are subjective based on those 2 websites. And the sports programs are very good, very competitive. They do a lot of soccer, football, lacrosse. The other thing that's really nice about the town is they have a really good swimming pool. The Summit Family Aquatic Center is right here. It's actually a really nice facility. There's a kid pool here, and then the adult pool here. They've also got a really nice slide that kind of goes around. There's a kind of a bigger slide here in the deep end. There's also a playground, beach volleyball. I think there's basketball courts back here, and then like a snack bar, and then the facilities over here have like all the changing areas and so on. And then they put out lots of seating all around the pool and for the kid pool as well. So that's a great resource to have in the town. There's different price points depending on if it's single or family. I think the largest one is family, which is like $400, but obviously that's changing every year, so you should check that out on the local town website. The rec center is actually a little bit up the road. Rec center is right there, and they've got like basketball courts and indoor and stuff like that. That's the main area if you're gonna like get your pass for the pool and stuff like that. Although a lot of it you can do online. Then if we zoom out a little bit, we will talk about parks. And also while we're talking about parks, you can see one of the really nice things about Summit is just how green it is. Summit has some really great parks that give you the option to get outside and, you know, escape. Memorial Field down here, Tatlock is over here. They have the main football stadium where the high school plays. There's this little Stanley Park down here, which we've got some photos of. Let's zoom in so you can see what each park really has. These places are very well used by the community. You've got at the Soldiers Memorial Field, you've got tennis. softball fields for the kids teams. There's actually 2 soccer fields here. The high school baseball team plays here, and then sort of the JV teams play soccer here. But again, during the day, if you're out and about, you can run on the track. Nobody's going to bother you, because these are sort of the secondary locations that the school would use. The tennis area is really nice. There's 8 courts. There's a nice playground. The other park, you have a nice park downtown that I forgot to mention. So this is the downtown park with the playground for the kids. It spans between Broad Street, Maple, Summit, and the train station here. You've got that nice big square there of recreation with the main street going through it. And then the other nice park here that I mentioned is the Tatlock Sports Complex. So this is more for the high school, but you can go there, depending on if there's games going on or not. You can go out and utilize that area. So then the other area that I was saying, Stanley Park is more of like a quiet, serene area that you could go with the river. There's a really nice stone bridge that the train passes over, some picnic benches and stuff. So if you're a golfer, there's one option in town. If you're looking for municipal courses, there's a small par 3 course right here in like the very northern tip. If you are looking to join a club, there are 2 clubs. Actually, Canoe Brook's the only one that's in Summit. There's another course down here, which is Baltusrol, has 2, I think both of these have 2 36-hole courses. Now those are private clubs, so you're gonna have to find someone that can get you in there. In terms of tennis, I mentioned the courts at Memorial Field, but there's also a small private tennis club down here somewhere. Summit Tennis Club is right here. I think they have some clay courts as well, and they might also have some pickleball or smaller courts here. In terms of private clubs that have sports, there's also another club over here, which is the Beacon Hill Club. They've got a hockey rink in the winter, they've got a pool, they've got tennis, so lots of stuff on Beacon Hill. In terms of other sort of outdoor activities, there's a really great arboretum here, Reeves Reed. I really recommend, even if you're not planning to move to Summit, it's worth a trip out to check out the Reeves Reed Arboretum, because what you can do is take the train into the main station, come down Springfield, come across, go up Hobart. Now Hobart has some beautiful large homes to check out, and then you can come into the Arboretum, and there's a beautiful daffodil festival in the spring. Definitely come to Reeves Reed and check out that festival in the spring. That's a beautiful time of year. But there's also the Greenwood Gardens. So if you're into beautiful manicured gardens, definitely check out this area as well. Yeah, so I think in terms of Summit, that gives us a really good overview of what's around. It's great schools, really good downtown, an amazing commute to the city. And then if you're an outdoor person, there's plenty of places to go walking, running, visit different parks, visit private arboretums and gardens. There's just lots of amazing things to visit. It's a super green. When you zoom out on Google Maps, you can see just how green it is. There's trees everywhere. It's very serene, very peaceful. I don't mean to overhype it, but it's sort of an idyllic little suburb of New Jersey. And if you're interested in speaking about it, send us a message. We'd love to speak. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video.